TIFU by deciding to clean out my late wife's closet and stumbling upon a box of unsent letters. I should have known better. Grief does strange things to a person. I thought I was doing okay, functioning at least, but then the anniversary hit last month. It was 5 years since I lost her, and it felt like day one all over again. I started having trouble sleeping, the nightmares came back, and I just felt this overwhelming urge to be close to her again. Stupid, I know. I felt myself spiraling. I started avoiding people, calling in sick to work more often. I knew it wasn't healthy. I tried talking to a therapist, but it didn't help much. She suggested finding a way to honor her memory, to channel my grief into something positive. I thought about volunteering at the animal shelter she used to support, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. It felt performative, like I was doing it for show. The only thing that seemed to offer any kind of solace, any kind of connection, was being surrounded by her things. It wasn't logical. It just was. That's why I went there. I walked into her study. I looked around for a long while. I noticed how much dust had gathered. I ran my fingers across the desk. I picked up a pen she used. I sat down in her chair. I took a deep breath. I realized the hardest part wasn't getting rid of her things. It was confronting the fact that she was gone. I had to find a way to move forward without her, and that started with acknowledging the space she left behind. So, I decided to tackle her closet. It had been untouched since she passed. My sister-in-law kept suggesting I should go through her things, donate them, anything, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. It felt like betraying her somehow, like erasing a part of her existence. But this time, the grief was too heavy, the silence in the house too deafening. I needed to do something. So, I decided to tackle her closet. It had been untouched since she passed. My sister-in-law kept suggesting I should go through her things, donate them, anything, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. It felt like betraying her somehow, like erasing a part of her existence. But this time, the grief was too heavy, the silence in the house too deafening. I needed to do something. The closet was exactly as I remembered. Her clothes hung neatly, organized by color and season. Her shoes were lined up on the floor, each pair holding a memory. I ran my hand over a silk scarf, remembering the day I bought it for her in Italy. She had looked so beautiful wearing it, laughing as the wind caught it and blew it across her face. The memory stung, sharp and sweet. I closed the closet door and leaned against it, trying to catch my breath. Going through her things felt like a betrayal, like I was invading a space that should remain untouched. But I knew I had to do it. I could not leave her belongings gathering dust forever. It was time to start letting go, even though the thought made me feel sick. I told myself it was what she would have wanted. She never liked clutter. She always said things were just things. I opened a box on the top shelf. Inside, I found photos, letters, and ticket stubs. I sat on the floor, surrounded by her clothes and mementos. I began sorting through the box, reading old notes and looking at pictures from long ago. Each item held a story, a moment in time that I shared with her. It was painful, but I also felt a strange sense of comfort in being surrounded by these reminders of her life. It felt like she was still there with me. I started pulling things out, making piles for donation and keeping things I couldn't bear to part with. There were the usual things: dresses she wore to parties, jeans she wore on hiking trips, sweaters she loved to curl up in on cold nights. Each item brought a fresh wave of memories, each one a little stab of pain. Then, I found the box. It was tucked away on the top shelf, hidden behind a stack of old photo albums. It was a simple cardboard box, unmarked and unassuming. My heart skipped a beat. I didn't recognize it. I got a chair so I could reach the box. I wondered why I had never seen it before. I carry a step stool so I'm more able to look at higher shelves. I usually notice new things. The albums in front of it were family pictures going back years. I looked at the box again. I felt a strange mix of curiosity and dread. I considered putting it back. I decided I needed to know what was inside. I walked to the kitchen table with it. I set it down carefully. I took a breath. I used a knife to slice open the box. The letters looked old. The paper had yellowed with age. I noticed the postmarks. Most of them were from a long time ago. They were all different states. I didn't understand why she would keep these. I knew she moved around a lot before she settled down. I started to feel sick. I hoped there wasn't anything bad inside. I decided to read one. I pulled it down and opened it. Inside were letters. Dozens of them, all addressed to different people. My hands trembled as I picked one up. The handwriting was hers, undeniably hers. I recognized the way she dotted her I's and crossed her T's. The envelope was sealed. Curiosity and dread warred within me. Should I read them? Did I have the right? She wasn't here to tell me what to do, to give me permission. But the box felt significant, like it held a secret she had kept hidden from me. I wrestled with the decision for a long time. The letters sat there, judging me. My hands hovered over the box. I knew I should probably leave them alone. They were addressed to her, not me. But my need to know overwhelmed my guilt. I told myself I just wanted to understand her better. Maybe these letters could give me some insight into her life. I felt like I deserved that, at least. Finally, I made my choice. I grabbed the box and took it to the kitchen table. I sat down and stared at the pile of letters. They were all different sizes and colors. Some looked old and faded. Others looked new and crisp. I noticed names on some of the envelopes. I recognized a few of them. I wondered what they had written to her. I told myself it was okay to read one. Just one, to see what they were about. I picked the letter on top, addressed to her sister. With shaking hands, I carefully opened the envelope. The letter started innocently enough. She wrote about her day, about a new recipe she had tried, about a funny thing that happened at work. But then, the tone shifted. She wrote about her fears, her anxieties, her doubts about our marriage. I felt a knot forming in my stomach. The letter was unexpected. I thought things were going well between us. We had been together for 5 years. We rarely argued. We had a comfortable life. I did not understand where this was coming from. I reread the earlier parts of the letter, searching for clues. I wondered if I had missed something. I wondered if she had been trying to tell me something for a while. I thought back over recent weeks. I tried to recall any signs of unhappiness. I could not pinpoint any specific incidents. Now I questioned our conversations. Were there hidden meanings in her words? Had I been too oblivious to notice her pain? The more I read, the worse I felt. I began to feel angry. I was angry at her for not talking to me directly. I was angry at myself for not being more perceptive. I also felt a surge of fear. I did not want to lose her. I valued our life together, even if she did not. I needed to respond to the letter. I knew I could not ignore it. I decided to wait until morning to reply. I thought I needed time to process what she had written. I needed to calm down before I said anything I would regret. My heart sank. I kept reading, my eyes scanning the words, trying to make sense of them. She wrote about feeling trapped, about feeling like she had lost herself in the relationship. She wrote about longing for something more, something different. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I didn't recognize the woman in the letter. This wasn't the woman I knew, the woman I loved. This was someone else, someone hidden, someone unhappy. I sat there for a long time staring at the letter. My hands were shaking. I had to read something else, anything else. I needed to see if this was just a fluke, some weird isolated incident. I hoped it was a joke, a bad one. I couldn't imagine my life without her. I thought we were happy. I rifled through the box again, grabbing letters at random. I read them quickly, skimming for anything that sounded like the first letter. Most were normal, talking about work and friends and family. Then I found another one, tucked away in the back of the box. My heart sank as I recognized the handwriting on the envelope. It wasn't addressed to me. I grabbed another letter, this one addressed to a friend from college. The contents were similar, a mix of everyday details and hidden resentments. She wrote about feeling suffocated by my love, about feeling like I was trying to control her. I kept reading, letter after letter, each one a blow to my heart. The more I read, the more I realized I hadn't known her at all. She had built a wall around herself, a wall I had never even suspected was there. I felt confused by the letters. I thought we were happy. I believed we communicated openly. The letters showed a different reality, one where she felt trapped and misunderstood. She wrote about feeling unseen, as if her thoughts and feelings were unimportant to me. This hurt to read because I cared about her deeply and never wanted her to feel that way. I started questioning my memory of our relationship, wondering if I had missed crucial signs of her unhappiness. I tried to understand her perspective. I can see now that my actions may have come across differently than I intended. She wrote that I made comments about the long hours and stress involved in being a chef. I thought I was being realistic, preparing her for the challenges ahead. She interpreted it as discouragement, as if I did not believe she could handle the pressure. The letters revealed a pattern of miscommunication and unmet expectations. I did not realize the depth of her dissatisfaction until I read her private thoughts. I learned she felt like I didn't appreciate her career aspirations. I always thought I supported her dream to become a head chef, but she wrote that I subtly belittled her ambition, pushing her toward a more traditional role. I was trying to protect her because it's a demanding job, but I did not say that. She felt isolated from her friends, like I didn't approve of them. I was introverted, and her friends were extroverted. I thought I was supporting her. I was just a little quiet and reserved around them. I wanted her to have them in her life. I thought I was being supportive by letting her do her own thing. I realize now that support requires more active participation. I should have made an effort to connect with her friends. I should have asked her more about them and tried to understand their dynamic. I also should have explained my own introversion better. It probably seemed like I was judging them when I was actually just feeling awkward. I wanted to be the kind of partner who encouraged her social life, not one who inadvertently stifled it. I missed the mark. I also messed up by not giving her enough attention when she needed it. Work was stressful, and I let that stress consume me. I should have prioritized our conversations, even when I was tired. I could have listened to her vent for a few minutes before switching to autopilot. It was unfair of me to shut her out simply because I was drained. I am the type of person who has a hard time focusing on more than one thing at a time. I need to work on that. I need to be a better listener. She felt I never listened to her. I would come home from a long day at work, and she wanted to tell me about her day, but I would be too tired to hear her. The most devastating letters were the ones addressed to herself. They were raw, vulnerable, and filled with a pain I couldn't comprehend. She questioned her worth, her purpose, her happiness. She wondered if she had made the right choices in life. I carefully placed the letters back in their boxes. I wanted to understand, but I also felt like I was intruding on something private. I closed the lid on the last box and pushed them back into the far corner of the closet. I needed to process what I had just read. I knew I couldn't just pretend I hadn't seen anything. My perception of her had shifted. I went downstairs and made a cup of coffee. I tried to think about what this meant for our relationship. I decided I needed to talk to her, but I didn't want to accuse her of anything. I wanted to approach the situation with empathy and understanding. I needed to find the right words to express my concern without causing her more pain. I hoped she would be willing to open up to me. I sat there for hours, surrounded by the letters, the closet feeling smaller and smaller. The weight of her unspoken feelings crushed me. I felt like I was suffocating, drowning in a sea of regret. How could I have been so blind? How could I have missed all the signs? Was I so caught up in my own world that I failed to see her pain? The guilt was overwhelming. I had failed her. I had failed our marriage. I had failed to give her the happiness she deserved. I loved her, I did, and I dedicated my life to making her happy, but I failed. I wanted to scream, to rage, to break something, but all I could do was sit there and cry. The tears streamed down my face, soaking the letters in my hands. The pain was unbearable, a dull ache that spread through my entire being. As the day turned into night, I started to think about why she hadn't sent the letters. Had she changed her mind? Had she found a way to work through her feelings? Was she planning to talk to me about it? I'll never know the answers to those questions. She's gone, and her secrets are buried with her. All I have left are these letters, these painful reminders of my failure as a husband. I don't know what to do now. Do I tell her sister about the letters? Do I destroy them and pretend I never found them? Do I try to learn from them and become a better person? I don't know. I'm lost, adrift in a sea of grief and regret. I just wish she were here. I miss her laugh, her smile, her touch. I miss everything about her. I know she wasn't perfect, nobody is, and she wasn't happy. I didn't give her what she wanted. I should have been better. I just wish I had known. Maybe, just maybe, if I had known, things would be different. Maybe she would still be here. I am not even sure I am sad, mostly in shock to know that there was so much between us that I did not see. I have decided to keep the letters for now and lock them away, so I am not tempted to read them. I don't think my heart can handle any more pain, not today. I do plan to talk to my sister-in-law about it, even though she does not know what is in those letters, but she knows her sister better than anyone. It will be a long time before I can look at that closet again. Maybe someday I will be able to donate her things and move on with my life. But for now, the closet remains a tomb, a reminder of my love and my loss. I messed up badly, and now, I have to live with the consequences.